Hello everybody and welcome to the Showcast, a captivating series of candid conversations from film festivals and film markets everywhere, brought to you by The Film Verdict and hosted by yours truly, Matt Micucci. We're still riding the wave of excitement from this year's edition of the Karlovy International Film Festival in the Czech Republic, the 57th in its illustrious history. And today, we continue our Showcast coverage by delving into one of the award-winning films from its main competition. Empty Nets is a captivating drama that was honoured with the festival's special jury prize. Joining us today is its talented director, Behrooz Karamizade. Empty Nets tells the story of star-crossed lovers Amir and Narges who are forced to conceal their love due to the societal constraints of modern-day Iran. Their relationship and dreams face formidable challenges in the form of tradition, corruption and social hierarchy. Amir finds himself venturing into the perilous world of black market caviar smuggling, all in an effort to satisfy the upper-class family of his loved one and secure their future. Today we'll dive deep, no pun intended, into the captivating narrative of Empty Nets and explore the director's artistic journey. Behrooz Karamizade's path to becoming a filmmaker has been nothing short of fascinating, culminating in this impactful feature debut. Through this film, he fulfills his goal of sharing poignant stories from his native land with the world. So fire up an Audio Teeny and listen to the audio waves as they fly through the air. This is the Showcast. Hello, Behrooz. Welcome to the Showcast in Karlovy. Lovely of you to join us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We'll be talking about Empty Nets, the film that you're presenting here. I believe your feature debut, directorial feature debut, which is a very powerful film, and we'll talk about it later. But I was also reading a little bit about you, and your journey to being here is amazing. It's fascinating. And I would love to know a little more about it. Now, you were born in Iran, and then circumstances meant that you and your family had to move when you were quite young, right? So what were those circumstances?
So in Iran in the 80s was ongoing the Iran-Iraq war. It was a long war between Iran and Iraq. And so in the year of 86, me and my family, we escaped from Iran and we went through the former Soviet Union to East Berlin, West Berlin, then to Germany, to West Germany, and where I grew up in different refugee camps with my family over nearly 1 year. So it was there also a long journey. And then at the end, we was accepted like refugees in Germany. And I grew up in Cologne mostly. And then I started to study film in Kassel, made my first short films, first in Germany, but I was so influenced from Iran and my roots from them and the society there and the problems of the society there. So, and I identify myself a lot with this society in Iran. And I decided to short films there in Iran, make some couple of short documentaries. They run quite good in festivals. And I saw, okay, this is somehow, I have a good connection to this country and I like the landscapes and I'm in love with the people and I identify with a lot of their problems and their struggles, and I decided to find an idea for my first feature film to shoot there. And it was like a dream. It was my dream all my student time to shoot my first feature film in Iran.
Yeah. At what age did you realize that film was something that you would like to get into artistically and professionally in your life?
I started with photography first after I passed the school. I worked with an industry photographer and portrait photographer. And he gave me cameras and I make photos and I developed them myself. It was the analog time. I was fascinated of this thing that you make a photo and you don't see it until you develop it yourself. And then you see it and you see, oh, what you did. It's a very interesting idea of photography, analog photography. But then when digital photography came, I was no more so much interested in photography anymore. And because you see directly what you do, and I leave the photography beside a bit. And I was more interested in observing people, not just in one frame, in one image, but also in the process of time. Yeah. And this element of time is missing in photography because it's just one moment. Yeah. But To watch people in one period of time is the thing of cinema. You have the time. And then I started to make some practica and TV, and then I in film, and went to film schools.
Yeah. So when you started, let's say even shooting photos, those photographs early on, what were the subjects that interested you?
I was always interested in people, watching people find special moments. And when you have the photo camera in front of your eye, it's like something hiding you from the rest. Yeah. And you are able to observe. And this idea gave me the possibility to look deeper in the souls of the human beings, which I saw in front of my camera. And I loved this situation. For example, the idea of this film of Empty Nets came to me when I made a photo series about fishermen. And I made pictures of them, and I found this fishery at the Caspian Sea. I love their faces. I love the story which is in their faces, the younger and the older one, and how they were suffering, how they work hard. And when they laugh, and when they are sad, and when they are full tension, these different looks and views on them, I collected them photo by photo. And I had them already in my inside when I wrote the script. I think I could achieve to have more three-dimensional characters because I know them so good from my photography.
Well, I did wonder that because while I was watching the film, it really seemed like this came from somebody who has lived those situations and knows what he's talking about, because there was a lot of details that I think, would otherwise have been lost if it had been made by somebody who just half-heartedly knew about it. Do you think that's important when you're exploring a world to dive deep so that you can know those details and make it more lifelike, the film at large?
Absolutely. For me, it's very important to know about what I am telling, because authenticity is for me one of the most important things in cinema, because we are dealing with life, with the reality. But it's not the reality, like the objective reality, it's a subjective reality, how we see the world, how I, like a photographer or like a filmmaker or like a DOP, see the world. And we see it through the window, right. The window of our eyes. But we see the world. And if you want to make a film, we have to recreate this world for the audience. And for this, it should be authentic, because it's unfair if we recreate the world of the fishermen not the correct way, because it's unfair for the fishermen, because they don't see themselves in this film. And for me, that's why it's important. That's why I have to make always a long research. And in this certain case, I lived with the fishermen. I slept in their places, accommodations. I went with them out to the sea, came back, and had all these strange dialogues which they talk, and the way they talk and the way they behave. Yeah. And I liked it a lot.
The songs they sing, what they do when they're not working, the different things that happen outside of the official quote unquote work. But then, of course, you mentioned subjective reality. So a part of that is the narrative of the film itself, which of course comes from fantasy, essentially. Of course, these are things that we can all identify with, whether we're from Iran or not, or whether we know anything about fishing or we don't. But in this story, it seems to involve a lot, two things in particular, and correct me if I'm wrong in my reading of it. One of them is love. And I think many of us can identify with that, with that side of the story. A young man who's completely madly in love with this woman, but, there are difficulties that are beyond their control and prevents their romance from blooming. Another one is class struggle. Each of them come from a different class, kind of social background. He's from a lower class background and she's from an upper one. This latter element, is this something that you could identify with or interests you for any reason in particular?
First of all, I wanted to show in this film the problem of the young society and young generation in Iran. I wanted to show what they are struggling for and why they can't achieve a simple goal like to be with her love or to have proper work to work. This was the first I wanted to show. And then I was thinking, which elements the audience needs to get identified with these young people, because they are, for example, an audience in Germany or another part of the world. Why they should be interested in the problems of a young men in Iran. And I was thinking that the universal theme and topic of love can help very good to identify. This was first. And then I followed this love, but I don't want to make a love story. I wanted to make a drama. It starts with a love story, but it is a drama. It's a drama about a society which has a lot of big gap between rich and poor, between there is no proper middle class. The middle class is getting smaller and smaller. The people are struggling and fighting every day against the impact of the sanctions, the inflation. But I wanted to show this society from different angles. I don't want to show this society just black and white. I wanted to show different layers and different layers of problems which people are confronted. And I had somehow the idea in my mind that these problems and this layer are on top of these young people like a fisher net. Yeah. And they're pushing them down like a fish who is in the net and is try to breathe and try to spring back to the water where you can survive. I had this image in my eye, and I started to combine these ideas and talk through these images to the audience.
And tell me more about the actors, because it seems like their performances are very real. So how do you find the right people for these roles, and how do you work with them to achieve these performances?
The first actress who was chosen nearly without casting was Sadaf Asghari, because I know her from her earlier films. What was more hard, she plays a role of Narges. What was more hard was to find the main actor, the Amir actor, who is Hamid Reza Abbasi. I made a big casting. We searched in schools, in theater groups, in a lot of places, because I don't wanted to have a already known actor for this role and somebody who already plays different roles, because I wanted to have a very pure, natural guy who just starts acting and is not already used to a way of acting. So I could put him on my stamp on him, because I needed him to be at the beginning, because the story needs it at the beginning, very pure and very naive, deform him and transform him more and more to the dark side of his character, that comes out. And therefore I need a really new and fresh face. Yeah. And this was him, Hamid Reza Abbasi. And in the connection with the other actors, I worked with very famous actors. For example, Pantea Panay, who plays the mother of Amir. She's very, very good actress and very famous. And we have also in the Fisher side, we have another concept. There I worked with authentic, real Fishers, but also with known actors. So, for example, Ali Bagheri, who is playing the role of the chef of the poachers. He's a famous and known actor in Iran, but I put him beside real fishermen and other poachers, real poachers, that to have the authenticity and the real world of the fishers, not just actors who are acting like they're fishers.
It sounds a little bit like the school of Italian neorealism, I guess, that blend of reality and fiction. One thing that I wanted to also draw attention to is something else that kind of I noticed in this film is within this impossible romance that gradually the obstacles between the girl and the boy, the male and the female, begin to grow and eventually seem insurmountable. There are these scenes that they share, and there seems to be like a central importance to the food. It's almost like they're trying to create a home even under a bridge, and it's the food that kind of helps create that, Those little moments, I guess, capture the heartwarming nature of their relationship, right? Yeah. So thinking of that, I wanted to focus on achieving that balance of love and frustration, obsession and whatever. When they met, these two actors, how did you work with them and kind of, shaping that chemistry that they shared on the screen?
First of all, when I wrote the script, I had an idea of them in my mind, but it was a script. It should come to real life. Yeah. And for this, we worked very close with the actor and actress to bring these characters alive. I wanted them to bring their experiences of their own life into these figures and their roles. Not just that I say them, you should say this, do this, and make that. And because it's for me important to have their reality, the real reality of the young people. And they helped me a lot, the both. Very, very good characters, the actors, Hamid, Sadaf, and the other actors, the third one who's very important for me, Kayvan Mohammadi, who plays the Omid role. And these are representative of young generation now in Iran, and I wanted their real life and their real way to talk. So I let them big space open to bring their own way to talk. And on the other side, we were thinking of how we can show a romance in Iran, because in Iran you have certain restrictions about what you are allowed to show and what you are not allowed to show. And it's, for example, not allowed to show that a woman touches a man or man touches a woman. They have to keep a distance. It's not allowed. Kisses are not allowed. All these things are not allowed. But we are, on the other hand, talking about a love story. So how we can deal with this? So we had to find certain details for this. And what we found was a food, and they had this place, and they hide each other there to have some time for each other. That's how these ideas came. The ideas came actually from the problems which we had and from the restrictions.
And the motorcycle too, which inevitably calls to mind, at least to me, the great Kiarostami close up. But exactly, I wanted to talk about that actually, because you are now, eventually you decided, I want to make films about Iran, at least for now. Maybe, you want to make a sci-fi later. Who knows? You never know. But now, when we think, I mentioned earlier Italian neorealism, but Iranian cinema, what we call sometimes is Iranian New Wave, was, in my opinion, fundamental in shaping global cinema after a certain period of time. Kiarostami, all those greats. Did they influence you, basically, in your formative years as a filmmaker?
Yes, absolutely. I grew up with their movies. Yeah, at home, my parents watched them. I identify a lot with these films because when I grew up in Germany, this was my source where I learned our society, and I'm deeply impressed and deeply influenced by Kiarostami, Merjoui, and the other strong directors. But I'm also influenced from other directors like Nuri Bilge Ceylan, Zvergensov, Jacques Adoua. They are also have a big influence on me. Tarkovsky, if we go deeper in the film history. But I don't want to copy them. I don't want to copy Kiarostami or be another new realism Iranian filmmaker. I try to find my own way. And somehow it helps me that I come from outside to Iran, and I looked a little bit from my angle on Iran. And some said to me, it's not a typical Iranian movie. And I said, thank you. Because I think I made my kind of reality. I create my kind of reality because I'm very interested in images. I love to see images in films, in other films also, or from my colleagues, which I didn't see before. Yeah. Like to find, okay, wow, very interesting way to see the world, very interesting way to talk through this image about this topic. That's why I'm mostly interested in films to see. That's why I mentioned this kind of directors, because they do it in that way.
That's what cinema's about, right? Absolutely. But isn't it interesting how people have kind of, I don't know, it seems harder for people to see it that way anymore. It seems like people are more readily looking at with more attention at things that they already know, and they want to see them as they already know them on the screen. If there's a film that talks about what they know, quote unquote, because, who knows anything, but anyway, something that they're familiar with, not in the way that they think they know it, they get upset.
Absolutely.
But isn't that like going against the artistic nature of cinema, but also photography, also all of these other different art forms?
Absolutely. I can't understand this because what I'm really a little bit tired of is that cinema is going more and more in the direction of topics. So it is a topic of a film. The topic of the film is more important than the whole concept of the film. Because for me, cinema is to be in this black room, like a dream, and see these images in front of your eyes. And when you lose the connection to reality, and you just follow that what you see on the screen, this is the magic moment of cinema, where you forget everything and you dive into like a dream through the images. And it has nothing to do with topics. It is the way we see the world. And this is somehow a little bit going back in our nowadays, because we live in a time with a lot of information. Information seems to be the most important thing in our daily life, but information is nothing, because that's not an emotion. It doesn't create any emotion. It just creates more information and more logic and more thoughts, but no emotion. But images and atmosphere, what you create in films, what we talked about from Nuri, Belge Ceylan, or so these are images which are strong and which go directly to your heart and infect you very, very strong, and let you feel something. I think this is more close to reality than information, because information is just a piece of the world and not a feeling. And that's what I try to achieve in my films. I hope I can do it. And this is what I like in other people's and other colleagues' films when I watch.
Well, one final question, actually, returning to the story of Empty Nets. I think in introducing it, one of the earliest things you said about it was you wanted to highlight the difficulties that younger generations have, under this incredible pressure in society, and this incredible disparity between the classes, the richer getting richer, the poorer getting poorer. Are you hopeful for the future? Where is this going to end? Because it's going to end somewhere, right? So do you ever think about that? What do you think is going to happen?
So now at the moment, I have a bit pessimistic look on it. But in general, I'm a very hopeful person. I don't know if it is why I called the film Empty Nets, because the nets are empty. And I hope that they will get full. If we really follow these young people and look at their needs and really help them to achieve their needs and their dreams, then also the society has hope. If we don't follow them, the society will not have hope, and because they are the future. Every society, in everywhere, not just in Iran, we have to follow the roots, the hopes, and what the young society needs. But in connection with Iran, I hope that there will be more and more new perspectives for these young people, because it's really, really needed for them.
What role is cinema currently playing in Iranian society? You mentioned earlier, one of the things that you highlighted in your approach is you are essentially like an outsider, not completely, but you do have an outsider perspective. But so from a practical standpoint, seeing the role that cinema plays now and the challenges, of course, that people working within cinema have in Iran, what's your take on it? What is happening right now currently as far as cinema in Iran is concerned?
I think I have a very, very brave and courageous colleagues in Iran who really struggle hard to bring different images of Iran society out in the world, and also to show them their own people in Iran. And they are doing a great job, courageous job, and it's not the easiest way to work in cinema in Iran. And I am thankful for every film which I see next and next to get more views on the society. And I think especially for Iran, a country who has such a big film history and is such a big film culture, it's an important task for us filmmakers to bring these views and these positions out in the world, and also for the society, and give images of hope, but also show the problems.
Yeah. And on that note, I thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And that wraps up another captivating episode of the Showcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with director Behrooz Karamizade and our exploration of the award-winning Empty Nets from the Karlovy International Film Festival. Remember, the Showcast is here to bring you the behind-the-scenes stories, the untold narratives, and the passionate voices from the world of film. Join us next time as we continue our journey through this year's edition of the Karlovy International Film Festival, and if you like, go back and revisit our previous episodes as well. Till the next time, from The Film Verdict, this is Matt Micucci signing off. See you soon.